The big mystery has been resolved in Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 55, the mystery of who the identity of Merus, or should I say what the identity of Merus actually turns out to be. And not just that, but Vegeta has finally completed his training with the Yard Rats and is ready to show the new abilities that he has learned. So those are going to be the two main points with this manga chapter. Those are the two main sort of plot threads here. The Merus story and the Vegeta story, which of course ties in with Goku as well as the gods, the god hierarchy, the angels, and the Daishinkan of Dragon Ball. And the story of Merus, the character of Merus, has always been shrouded in mystery, and we've been speculating for quite some time that he is an angel. Well, guess what?
Here's the angel. See the angel. It's my angel. No one else is next to the rakes.
So at the end of the last manga chapter, we had Whis and the Daishinkan, the Grand Priest, discussing, Merus, and it gave us a clue that they knew who he was. This was, of course, in the Zeno realm, the world in between the universes, or whatever you want to call it, whatever realm Zeno is. And we find out that the Grand Priest sent Merus to Universe 7 for training to learn about the way the mortals live, which kind of explains as to why he did not get involved in any of the previous problems in the Dragon Ball world, why he didn't get involved in the Broly arc, for example. That's what Toyotaro is using to explain this. Now, that being said, they do discuss that very thing here about how the angels are not allowed to interfere in mortal business, even though, let's not forget, Whis turning back time is kind of interfering with the business, but that of course gets discussed here as well. So Toyotaro is really good at covering himself up, but they talk about how basically Whis needs to go down there and talk to Merus because Merus has not used his angel power yet, but now that he's training with Goku, he's dangerously close to tapping into those angelic powers. But that being said, Whis has to go down there and try to prevent him from going too far and getting involved in this fight with Moro and, doing what he can. Of course, Whis says he wants to go down there and talk to him, but the joke is that he just wants some of Earth's food, which has been the recurring joke with Whis from the beginning. And essentially, Daishinkan kind of lets Whis become the babysitter, so to speak, for Merus. Now, this is picked up again at the end of the manga, but between that, we have this story arc with Vegeta, who is continuing to train and learn the secrets of the Yard Rats, including the healing abilities, and he wants to know if maybe he can learn that and whatnot. Now, it's interesting because P-Bara, who is training Vegeta, is telling him that, well, you should probably learn the instant transmission first, the instantaneous movement, the Shinkan Ito, which seems to be the most basic of moves. And Vegeta in himself was, I didn't think he was going to learn it, but it doesn't end up going anywhere because we have a new threat as Moro's forces have arrived at the Yard Rat planet with nobody there to protect them but Vegeta. But unfortunately, because of Vegeta and who he is, this may have been a mistake by Moro's forces because Vegeta's not here to play around. So we have this guy on Moro's team who looks a lot like Zarbon. In fact, I'm 100% sure that this guy is essentially a tribute to Zarbon. This is sort of some cheap fan service stuff here that Toyotaro is doing, where he's sort of giving us a new version or a throwback to the fight with Zarbon. Toyotaro loves to do that. He is the J.J. Abrams of Dragon Ball, it seems, with the constant fan service. But I personally think that the Zarbon Vegeta fight, especially the second one, well, they're both great, on Namek, are just awesome fights. Very, very, very violent, classic Dragon Ball Z battles. And this fight looks to be similar to it. There is some really, really good stuff here when it comes to art, when it comes to the combat between these two. Like, the fight looks really sharp, and it's a little bit grander of a scale than the one that Vegeta had back on Namek. But of course, we have a higher, more powerful Vegeta, and this guy is obviously stronger than Zarbon. The whole thing with this guy is he pretty much is supposed to be the same race as Zarbon, but it's one of those things where it's a little weird for me, honestly, because the way I see it, the way I view it, he's just like, the Zarbon character was supposed to be sort of a Toriyama's, I guess, tribute to Beauty and the Beast. You know, Beauty becomes the Beast. And it seemed to be something that even though Frieza and other characters like Zarbon could transform, Zarbon was always the guy who I thought was just like his own character. There wasn't like a race of him. He was just kind of his own thing. A changeling kind of mutant, so to speak. That's what I thought he was. But no, there is a whole race of Zarbon-esque characters. Now, during this melee, we find out that Moro is not targeting Yardrat. That is not his goal. His goal is planet Earth, which we've already seen some combat on Earth in the previous manga chapter. Here we are in a different place, of course. But Vegeta himself, of course, has concern because he's got family on Earth, right? So this, of course, would motivate Vegeta to get things done a lot faster. But back to this fight. So I love the fact they're using these big objects to fight. Like, it really sort of comes off like a more modern Dragon Ball battle. They're using telekinetic powers, and Vegeta has to kind of get around it. No transformations, you know, off the hop like something that Vegeta would do. So that tells me that this guy is nothing, right? Like, he's a joke. He's a joke to Vegeta. So, after the fight is over, Vegeta is telling Pibara, look, the Earth is in trouble. I need to learn some kind of technique to beat Moro, and I don't need instantaneous movement. He doesn't want to teleport, which is good, because I didn't think it would be a good move for him. And the other Yardrats are, you know, worried about this, but Pibara says that, okay, I'll do the best that I can, but we don't know if there's going to be enough time for you to be ready for that fight. So there's not much to talk about here as far as plot goes. The majority of this manga chapter, when it comes to actual content, is this fight. And yes, the pages are great to look at, but most of this chapter is fighting. I mean, that's what you're going to get here. I feel like Toyotaro's been doing this a lot more lately, which I'm okay with, having entire chapters be dedicated to fights, because you know, even though it is a monthly manga, you want to make sure the fights actually have value to them. So then we cut over to Moro, who is surprisingly not concerned at Vegeta's increase in power, and is not concerned at all as far as, you know, the threat of Vegeta. And in fact, he doesn't want to go to Earth yet. He actually talks about going to other planets first to absorb their energy before getting to Earth. So more and more time is passing, and Moro keeps eating more energy. So it's going to be kind of a tough situation to beat this guy if he keeps doing this and swallowing up more energy. So we end the manga chapter with a few more pages in the Room of Spirit and Time, where Merus and Goku are fighting, and Merus realizes that they're running out of time, even though, of course, you have all the time in the world. You're in the Room of Spirit and Time, in the time chamber, as you would in the dub. So Merus wants to go at full power to try to get that Ultra Instinct out of Goku, and he's about to power up, and Goku's about to power up, but then all of a sudden they both get warped out of the room, and it is Whis, and Merus refers to Whis as older brother. So that's interesting. A couple of things here that I find interesting. Whis is Merus' older brother. Whis seems to have seniority over Merus, and Merus appears to be an angel in training. And that is interesting. Does that mean they're going to be developing a different universe? Is he going to be just a side angel, not with the god of destruction? Is he going to be taking Whis' place? There's a lot of mysteries here as far as what they're going to be doing and how this may affect the god hierarchy. And I really hope that they don't forget about this. I don't want this to be a drop plot point. I want this to actually be explored about how the angels get ranked, because it looks like the Grand Priest has more children than we originally thought. You know, we originally thought it was just the 12 universes, the 12 angels. No, the Grand Papa has many, many kids, which means he's a very busy man. I wonder who the woman is, or the, his wife or whatever. We may never know. It might be asexual birth. Who knows? But anyways, Whis talks about how, okay, look, you're training Goku, but you can't really go all out. And if you go all out, it's no longer training, it's fighting. And if it's fighting, you might end up breaking the rules of the angels. And he even tells Merus, he's like, you were planning on going to Earth and helping Goku, weren't you? You know, he's calling him out for getting involved. And even though his heart might tell him to do the right thing, he has to abide by the angel rules. And the rules of the angels state that if they go too far and get too involved and go too all out in this whole saga, that they could end up getting destroyed, because the angelic law prevents them from breaking that rule. So that's some new lore here that we didn't know about before. Again, I find it weird that Whis is able to reverse time in Resurrection F, which again, that was interference. I don't care what you say. That's interfering with what's supposed to happen because they would have lost that fight against Frieza based on what we saw in that film. Whis reversed it. He broke the rule. A little bit of a hypocrite there, but I guess he didn't actually physically attack Frieza, so maybe that's what they mean. He can't get physically involved. So Whis basically saves Merus' life because Merus was about to get destroyed. The manga chapter ends with Whis and Merus going back to the angelic realm and then Goku realizing, great, they're gone. How am I going to get back to where I'm supposed to go? So I find it funny that, Whis just swoops up Merus and just says goodbye, and Goku's by himself, still unable to really unleash his Ultra Instinct power. So at this point, I really don't know what to expect in the next manga chapter. This is interesting because I don't know what they're going to do here. I don't know how Goku's going to get out of this, if he's going to actually get Ultra Instinct, if Merus will get involved again. Is this the end of Merus? Are we not going to see him again for the rest of the arc? What's going to happen here? This was a very bold and interesting chapter from Toyotaro as far as that goes. The rest of the chapter was pretty much just fighting, and it was fine. Wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. It was okay. It was basically just a bunch of pages, dedicated to reliving the memory of Vegeta versus Zarbon, except Vegeta's fighting in those cool Yardrat clothes. Other than that, it's a whatever chapter, honestly. With the exception of the reveals, there wasn't much here that really I can dig my teeth into, but there is some new lore which I like, but nothing that I think is, anything world-breaking. Plus, we all kind of knew that Merus was an angel, and it was predictable, but it wasn't the bad kind of predictable. It was the good kind, because it shows that, you give us clues on something, and you pay it off with the way we want, and the way that makes logical sense, and, of course, that works. That's good storytelling. So that's it for my review of manga chapter 55. It was good, not great, I don't think. We'll see where the story goes, because I am very intrigued going forward. Thank you again. What did you think about this chapter? Let me know in the comments, and we will talk real soon.